Hello everyone, this is Tim. Me and my daughter today went out for a little adventure. We went to the local park and I just kind of filmed things as, anything that looked interesting to maybe give you some inspiration. I've always been intrigued by streams and water and that sort of stuff. I kind of wanted to get the sound here, but there was like tractor trailer trucks driving by. I was standing on a bridge. I live in Pennsylvania, so there's lots of cool trees and like rotting vegetation all over the place. You'll see pictures of that soon. But yeah, like a river runs through it. That one line about being haunted by waters is always kind of appealed to me. I always have things like that bounce around in my head. Memories about playing in the streams and creeks and making dams to hold the water back. There's lots of old buildings out here too. There's a log cabin that's like right on the highway, and my grandparents' house was a log cabin, but they eventually covered it up with siding, that sort of stuff. But that's just really cool to see. It's just one of those things that is appealing and maybe is some inspiration for someone out there. My daughter wanted to get to the park after I took pictures of this. Like I said, we were sort of just like driving around, just seeing what we could see. Maybe there's some trolls under that bridge, and the water's really high because we had a lot of snow, and then the temperature went up to like 67 degrees. So that stream right there is usually about 3 feet lower. So it's always kind of cool to see the power of water and just how things change, the erosion. This tree bark here, it just looked like some like creature's skin. Can you imagine like describing something that was flaking off and rotted and like pockmarked like that? Yeah, Beezer thought that was cool too. This bench has like all kinds of like moss growing on it, and again, it just kind of looked like some sort of texture you could try to describe to your players as whatever. I just wanted to take a picture of the sky too. Here in southwestern Pennsylvania, there's a lot of cloud cover. It's always gloomy and gray. I think we have more cloudy skies than even Seattle does, which is saying a lot. And again, more trees. Coming up, we're going to have a part of the video where I'm just going to get quiet because there's like ice melting, and just the shapes that it takes is really cool. But again, more sky. I think at the end here there's a really dark patch. Okay, hold on. I'm hanging out with my daughter. She's watching the video too. Yeah, those bunch of clouds kind of seem cool. You see the water? Okay, shh. There were some cool bells, church bells playing while this was going on, and there's those ice melts over there from the hillside. My daughter scared me a little bit right here. Her and my son both, they're very adventurous, and they get real close to dangerous things. I was like, oh, get away from the water. She's like, I'm fishing. But I always enjoy taking my kids out to natural areas like this where they can kind of play, get dirty, gets them out of the house a little bit. Today it was like a light rain, but yeah, it was very cool to see those like ice melts there on the hillside. I think the next video will have a little bit of those bells, and I'll just let you guys listen to the sound of melting water and kind of the bells in the background. But I also like how the bottom there is cut off. You can kind of see where the water was higher. About a foot higher, looks like to me, maybe half a foot. Kind of cut the bottoms off there. Pretty cool to see. There's lots of sedimentary rock here in Pennsylvania. And that whole cliffside is basically made up of that. Kind of see like the jutting rocks there. And we always liked them as kids because they looked like like little caves that you could kind of hang out, and it's kind of fun to like chip at the rocks and find things. And more water. There's this iron bridge right here. I don't know if it's iron, but a metal bridge. And there's like a cave, sort of jutting out rock there. Man, as kids, we would just crawl into those things and just dig to our heart's content. More sedimentary rock, and I just like the texture it has. It's very impressive. Maybe I did meet this by accident. Yeah, looks like I did. But there's the dripping water. There, Beezer. and just everything is melting, just like pouring down the side there. And there's like all these leaves that are piled up at the bottom. And just the shapes that the ice takes are kind of, I don't know, artistic. You know, it's just like physics in motion, chaos theory, melting. And my daughter like to play with the ice and the dripping. I think the next one she throws a stick at. There it is. I wanted to try to check out some more places today, but the weather just wasn't cooperating. It's really rainy and kind of messed up. But I've always been intrigued by ice. I think that's part of the reason I came up with an ice world setting, kind of like Hoth. I just love all that greenery, right? All the moss and vegetation. And this is the place that I really wanted to go. We used to come under this tunnel. There's a railroad track above it. And this is like no trespassing. It's all chained off right now. But man, we used to make all kinds of noises down there when we were kids in elementary school. There's all kinds of graffiti, and I think maybe a crime happened down there. I'm not sure. But yeah, they don't want you to get through the tunnel, and they don't want you to cross the railroad tracks. Yeah, see the train? This line of woods right here, it's the top of my father's 13-acre property, and we had a spring on our on our ground, and my father always used to make jokes about that. He was telling my grandfather once about, it's like, you know what, John? I was drinking from our stream the other day. You know that spring we have, and I got a fingernail in it. He always called it corpse water. Okay, Bethany. This is the old miner's house that I talked about, and it's real briefly shown there. But there's like a little archway, doorway thing there in the hillside. It's like all made out of stone and concrete, and that's where we looked for like all those days when we were kids. Again, Pennsylvania, lots of downed trees, rotting vegetation. It's kind of a thing out here. This is on the way to my grandparents' house. I always remember looking out the windows, and that's their place there. Again, it's a log cabin under there, and it was like finished off with siding. Man, I loved riding my bikes there when I was a kid. Again, just more like outcrop of rock and down vegetation, lots of leaves. We have lots of abandoned buildings out here too, like farmhouses, farm buildings, barns, with big hay lofts, that sort of thing. And I think if I was a younger man and like more risky, maybe I'd try to look at some of these places, but again, I'm kind of I don't want to be like trespassing and getting in trouble for stupid things like that. But yeah, just look at the side of this thing, just how dilapidated it is, how much nature has taken this place back. It's just kind of like falling apart. All kinds of broken windows, siding falling off. The eaves are kind of dropped there. And there's just another like a little farm building, little kind of like shed sort of thing. And just one more barn there for the end. But yeah, I thought maybe you guys would appreciate seeing some of this stuff. Have a good one.